Pop-up means dynamic, really. It's about doing something fresh for a short period of time. And I think the best thing about pop-ups is that you can do them, and then the legacy of having done them can boost your brand for time to come. So even if at the time it feels like you didn't get down all the right people and you didn't quite make the connections you wanted to have made, you've got to get all that footage, you've got to get the photos, and you've got to get the kind of experience of doing it, and then constantly refer to that until you do the next one. Hi, I'm Nadine and I work for Camden Collective. So Camden Collective has been running pop-up shops for over 2 years now, and we've tried them as single units on the high street where there's one brand and they just take it for 1 week and then we rotate that. And we've also tried it where it's more of a shared marketplace, where we have a permanent space, about 6 different spots within it, and some people stay for 6 months, some people just stay for 2 weeks, but we've constantly got a rotating program of people coming into the spaces. If you're thinking about taking on a pop-up shop, the first thing that I would say is don't underestimate the amount of stock that you need. You know, you think all of these boxes in your bedroom, like you need to get it out there and into a shop, but once you get it onto a rail, spaces are actually really big and you need to have enough to fill them. You need to think about levels, you know, filling up the floor to the ceiling. How can you have stuff on shelves? How can you have posters on the wall? How can you be hanging up things? How can you do your window display? All of that stuff is key. If it looks rubbish, it's just going to make your brand look rubbish. You've got to think about it in the same way that you would think about your website being your main portal of entry and the main thing that people use to understand your brand. The second thing that I would say about pop-up shops is consider any space that you can get. Follow all leads for space, because from what we've understood, space in London is the most difficult thing to get your hands on, and actually any space can be turned into something that can work for you if you do your research about the location. So obviously the next thing is about creating a buzz around your pop-up shop, and for that I would say like social media is your best friend. The kind of old means of getting in contact with newspapers and magazines has actually turned into the long game, and the short game is Twitter and Facebook and Instagram. And you need to, you know, have a flyer as soon as possible and get people sharing it. You need to get competitions to get people to win kind of stock, even if it's towards the end of the time that you're in the shop. Really great way to get people to retweet things that you're trying to push out there. I think we always find when people take up pop-up shops, we ask them to run events from within them, even if it's like a private view evening or a closing sale or some kind of workshop or getting some live music. It really helps for people to have a reason to come to that shop. If you're starting a pop-up, chances are people don't know your brand, and so they're not going to come and visit the shop for your brand. You need to give them another reason as well, and then all the sales will kind of tag onto that. Another thing that does actually work surprisingly well is flyering at kind of destinations around your shop. This comes down again to doing a research about the location, but in our spaces in Mornington Crescent, we've got the ASOS offices right next door, so anything to do with fashion is worth popping down for half an hour during lunch and grabbing all them as customers. So the nature of the collective project, and indeed so many of these pop-up projects, is that we grow and shrink all the time, which means we're constantly on the hunt for new creative startups who want to try something new. And the idea of collective is that we take on the longer term risk of those spaces, the responsibility of the lease, in order to have people just try them out, because it's all very well all these ideas being in your head, but really the only way to test them is to get out there and do it.
So King & McGraw is an online art retailer, and we specialise in sort of reproductions primarily. So we have licenses for Andy Warhol, Keith Haring, Basquiat, and basically we reproduce everything and frame it in Sussex. We obviously sell some rare posters and limited editions, but we're kind of all about British craftsmanship, and kind of merging that with digital production. So I'm Sophie Agar and I help marketing for King & McGaw.
And I'm Millie and I'm content editor at King & McGaw.
I guess it gives you a sort of a taster for what it's like to potentially have a shop, or for us a gallery and selling space, but without that commitment to you know, actually getting a location and property. For us it also meant we could test out an area, so we knew we either wanted to do something in Soho or East London. This space came up, so we went with Soho, and yeah, I don't know, it's just about kind of testing the waters, I think.
I think it's also about creating a bit of a buzz around something and giving your brand something to talk about. So yeah, we wanted to do something a little bit different, and then it gave people something to talk about in the press, so we've got a lot of publicity out of it, and it's been a good kind of selling point for us.
Yeah, I think we wanted to kind of pitch it as an exhibition, so that would, you know, any exhibition doesn't last very long, and we knew that would probably help drive some footfall in the 2 weeks that we're open. Yeah, I think the big fear with having your own space is how do you keep sort of people visiting. So we had a good kind of PR drive to sort of get initial publicity, and then we sustained it over the 2 weeks. And most people that come in have like read about it and have come here for a reason, so it's quite good.
We looked at a few different places. We wanted it to be somewhere central so it was easy for everyone to get to. Soho is just such a buzzy area that we thought it would be great for like passing footfall. Yeah,
I think
it, really.
Yeah, I think as well, because I don't know, if you read about it and it's like, you know, pop up in Soho, it's just people just know where it is or can at least find it easily. And I think other locations it just wouldn't have been. We probably wouldn't have got the amount of people that we've had in. And I also think it's about kind of being next to all these other brands. Like we're close to Berwick Street, which is where all the sort of quite upmarket menswear brands are, but all independents, and yeah, our neighbours are quite cool. And the Breakfast Club was also a bit of a selling point because loads of people queue outside and probably want something to do while they're in the queue.
Yeah, I think people get a good feeling when they come in here. It's like a mini gallery, but it's not too intimidating. We've tried to pack a lot in here, so people come in and they can soak everything up quite quickly. And there's just a good atmosphere, I think. And yeah, we've had a really positive feedback, and we've been selling the prints that are on display, so that's gone really well. Lots of people have bought things, so it's been overall really positive.
Yeah, some people have said that, you know, it's nice and kind of refreshing to come across like an exhibition like this in Soho, and this kind of thing they're just not used to seeing it anymore, because it's all sort of fashion brands and restaurants, and yeah, art hasn't really got as much of a place in Soho as I think it probably used to.
This is our first one, and it's been so positive that we definitely want to carry on doing more.
Yeah, we might do something that kind of showcases the rest of the stuff that we sell. So it's just finding a way to kind of do it in a creative way that will again draw people in, and it isn't just your bog standard like poster shop. I definitely think it's a good way to figure out if there's demand for your kind of product in a particular area, or if people are willing to like travel to go and shop there. I think, yeah, it's just a really kind of great marketing tool as well.
Yeah, I don't think you can enter into it half-heartedly. I think you have to really kind of put your effort into talking about it and making sure that people know about you in the press, so people are actually going to come and visit you. I think you can't rely on just people wandering past your pop-up. You've got to actually get out there, but I mean, it's a great thing. If you can make it work, it's brilliant.
We've done a variety of things. We've got some black cabs are running ads about our pop-up on the screens that they have in the back, and then we've also got ads running on the tops of some black cabs that have these like digital screens. We haven't yet seen one drive past, but
Yeah,
we know we know that they're happening.
Yeah.
And then obviously just kind of PR. So we got some nice pieces in like Time Out and Metro, and then just communicating it to our database through email, and Millie's been doing loads of social media. So
yeah, also collaborating with a couple of other brands to run some workshops. So we've got them behind us as well. So yeah,
and also just flyering our leaflet around here. Have goals in mind, what you want to achieve, but don't feel like it's a failure if you don't manage to, you know, sell as much as you expected, because you might have some other kind of wins as a result of doing it.
So my name's Mia Holz. I work on a project called Free Range, which is run out of the old Truman Brewery in Shoreditch, London. Free Range is a 6-week season of graduate art and design shows which focus on different disciplines every week. And over the 6 weeks we have about 2,500 students exhibiting from all over the UK, and that's from about 50 different courses. So that covers fashion, design, art, photography, interior design and architecture. The pop-ups that happen here range from one-day exhibitions to kind of 3-month big installation pop-ups. The free range format is that students get a week to put on their show. So they get here on the Tuesday, they set up and build their show for 2 days with a private view on the Thursday evening, and then they have the private view for industry, and then they're open to the public across the weekend, and then they load out. So it's quite a quick turnaround to put on a show, but we find that as opposed to just going to a gallery and putting on your own show, it's a great opportunity for like 15 different courses that show each week to benefit from each other's footfall. So last year I think we had about 100,000 people through the shows over the 6 weeks. So by putting it all together in the one spot, it means that more people are seeing your work and you're getting a greater opportunity to engage with industry and your peers. I think if you're at a startup level, it's a really low-cost way of testing out your brand or your idea. So as opposed to getting a permanent shop front and setting something up that's long-term, it's a short and relatively fast and cost-efficient way of trialling something out. So for young business people, young creatives, it's a good way to dip your toe in the pool, and free range is a good way to kind of get a feel for how you go about putting your own show together. I think for most exhibitors at Free Range, it's the first time they've done anything like this outside of campus. A lot of people do grad shows on site, but doing something that's in London where you have to invite people that are not just your friends and family it's a big step, and it's something that you need to get your head around and get used to doing as a young artist. So doing it in a kind of comfortable environment where my job is to kind of help you or help the students to put their show on, it's a good way to begin the process. So the 4 steps, I suppose you've got to start with an idea. So generating an idea and then generating interest in the idea. So who's going to come to your pop-up and how are you going to get them there, how are you going to get the word out, and then, so that's the first 2. And then the 3rd step, I suppose, would be where are you going to have it, what space is going to be the most appropriate for what you want, and finding something that works with your budget. And then the 4th would be the live event, so the actual production, the private view or whatever, depends on what you're hosting, if it's a fashion pop-up or if it's an exhibition. I suppose the format will be different, but the live event. So idea generation, interest generation, finding a space, and then going live.